We need a Pokemon Showdown, but for Evertale. If you don't know, Pokemon Showdown is a web-based game made by Pokemon fans to simulate Pokemon PvP battles from every generation of Pokemon games. The competitive Pokemon scene would not be the size it is without it. But to get a fan game, you need, well, fans, and a lot of them at that, something Pokemon, being a multi-billion-dollar brand, has no shortage of. With a fan base that large, there are bound to be enough people to put together an open source project with a large team of volunteers with experience in their fields, all of whom are willing to invest their time into the project just because they like Pokemon that much. I do love our community here in Evertale. Our size doesn't hold a candle to that of the community of Pokemon. In fact, I think the most attention we ever got here was a game theorist video, and people still come asking about if the horror ads were real. Also, Pokemon gets new features and entire games, tournaments, and the like, while the creators of Evertale, Zigza, are too busy making another unit with the most BS move yet, as well as writing the truly deep lore and personality of these units. I think there is a desire in the community to bring back PvP and add a little bit more game to their game. I mean, despite the dire and disappointing state of the game right now, we are still here playing. Are we happy with how things are? No. But something keeps us here. I love the Evertale battle mechanics, and I do think it's that something that keeps us attached to this game. I think there's still some hope left that we can use the units we collect instead of letting auto-battling sort out the battles. Otherwise, all that's left is a gacha game with none of the elements we started playing to experience. So, I think as a community we should make our own Pokemon Showdown, but for Evertale. Hi, I'm JK. Nice to meet y'all. I'll be the one to get the ball rolling. With your help, I think we can make our space to have the Evertale battles that we wish we could have. You may have seen the post I made a few weeks ago regarding the reverse engineering Evertale mechanics. If not, here's what it looks like. This version, V4, was lacking a lot of features, but what it did have was accurate to how Evertale behaves in its battles. Since then, I have stopped working on the 5th version. You'll see why I didn't say completed. Here's what it looks like so far. And I'm sure you have so many questions about what the hell you're looking at. Like, were those bushes always there? Why is every character a 64 by 64 pixel cube? Why is Zoro and Toothless Dragon here? And I promise you, I will answer these soon, but just bear with me here. 4 months ago, I had this idea that I would make a video game. Prior to this thought, I had never touched a programming language in my life. And over time, it's kind of evolved into what it is now. By the way, for brevity, I'm going to refer to Evertale battle mechanics as a tick-based system. I came up with that because I don't think there's a name for it, since it's pretty unique, and I haven't found any game with mechanics like that. I'm also getting tired of saying Evertale battle mechanics. Ticks are the unit of measurement that I replace TU with. I think tick fits better because it sounds cooler than TU, rolls off the tongue better for sure, but I'll be using them interchangeably. Since starting, I have built the tick-based system from scratch 5 times already. I'm still learning how much I suck at this. I plan on adding PvP in, as well as all the units in Evertale, in an easily accessible website of some kind. Planning. Listen, I need some time to cook, okay? I haven't even turned the oven on, because I'm figuring out how the button works still, you know? I'm just one guy trying to make this work right now. With that cleared up, let me explain the digital gore that is on your screen right now. I have, to the best of my ability, recreated the features from Evertale, including UI elements, specific characters, all super rares because there's limited info for super rares, as well as, most importantly, the tick-based system. I released this version earlier than intended, that being V5, because yesterday I noticed I forgot to put in the part where the reinforcements go in. And adding them to my current game would break it. And so I gotta start again for the 6th time. Now, luckily I'm off work this week, but I usually only have time to code on the weekend. I'm sure I don't have to say this, but multiplayer is really hard to do. And You see, I thought I was just going to tack it on this week, but no, that's a long way away, but it's coming. It's coming. You can actually play the 5th version of the game yourself by going to the comments of whatever platform you are viewing on and clicking the link on my top comment. You shouldn't have to have an Opera account, and it will open in Google Chrome, but it is going to open the gx.games. Alright, let's talk about the bush. Enough said. Why there's squares? Efficiency. I just didn't feel like, manually cutting out the sprites, since I thought I was going to have to do a lot more than I ended up doing. It just saved enough time when I knew I wasn't going to dump all the time in the world, since I'm just restarting. Why is Zoro from One Piece and Toothless Dragon here? First off, that's actually the mighty Alterion. Alterion was actually designed by the user Sea of Quanta. Shout out him, or her, or they. On my last post, someone said that they had been posting custom characters for quite a while, so I chose one that I thought was cool. I had to alter the specifics of their unit a bit because I didn't want to spend more time than I needed on V5 when I'm just going to start over on V6, but I'm happy with how Alterion turned out. In the original post, the first and third move were somewhat similar, so I changed the first move, Thunderstrike, into a 100-tick stun, adding RNG AoE stuns as possible, but kind of time-consuming, and more than I'm willing to put in for it. I already had other code that could turn into a simpler AoE stun for 75 ticks, as well as give 2 allies 2 spirit for every enemy whose tick is over 100. And that was for the move, Dragon... What is it? It's like Dragon Storm or something. And then Tempest Bolt turned out a bit different than what Sea of Quanta wrote, but basically does the same thing. Tempest Bolt is an attack that hits 2 targets for 5 times damage if they're over 100 TU, and 0.1 damage if not. Both targets are over 100 ticks, then if both targets are over 100 ticks, then Alterion will not have any tick costs associated with the attack, and therefore takes their turn again. And then I did change Nova Storm because it was, again, kind of repetitive, but Nova Storm reduces an ally's ticks by 100. It is not exactly what Sea of Quanta made in his post, but I did my best to stick with the theme as best I could. I also have to appreciate his efforts in writing some actual lore for the characters. I think it's much better than what passes for Zigza's story. Now, Zora comes from the user ThinArguments919's post about having crossover events in Evertale. I thought it was a cool idea, so I added Zoro, and this is my best shot at what a Zoro character would look like in Evertale. Since his whole thing that makes him look cool is the mouth sword and how angry he is, I thought Counter Stance and Desperate Strike were good moves for him, and I had already made those for Oz. I then add Zoro's Sword Dance to the game, as well as Buy Another Sword. Zoro starts off with 3 swords, and every time he uses Zoro's Sword Dance, it does 100% of his damage times the number of sword he has. But he also loses 1 sword each time he uses the move. But I couldn't really say where Zoro keeps them all. Thank you to both of these users for sharing their ideas with all of us. Most of you know the super rares by now, as well as what they do, and it should be pretty accurate to the real game, save a few exceptions like Viola with her pushback move that just pushes back the target to the end of the line because I messed up with the reinforcements. Also in the base game, I think you can only have 1 effect like poison or fire at a time, but I'm not 100 on that. There are no checks to stop counter stamps from being used consecutively, and some of the target logic was kind of copied and pasted to save time from other moves, so things that usually shouldn't be counted as attacks can still be blocked by Valtryek's guard. There are some other features missing too, notably the reinforcements and, of course, most importantly, the deep lore of the game. If you want more details, you can always try it for yourself. Once again, it'll open in Google Chrome. But if something goes wrong, I'll check back later, so tell me if something didn't work. Also, I'd love some help. If only there was someone who knew enough about Evertale to make a 2-hour-long video about all the super rares. Info on them is hard to get, and any would go a long way when I'm ready to implement them. Truciot. If you can draw, then I need you. I want a great looking box. No. The box with 4 corners. No, seriously, but the GY needs to be absolutely crisp. If you can draw a nice box and other assets and sprites for a menu, hell, even just a design for a nice menu on like a piece of paper, that would be killer. Anything helps. If you're down to help, go and hit my line. I think this should be a community project. Uh, Socials on the screen, any of those will work. Uh, that's all for today, folks. If you feel so inclined, do the usual e-beggar protocol to stay up to date. Peace.